welcome to today's episode of Window Treatment Friday Live. If you are new to this broadcast, this is a window treatment series where usually my friend Kimberly and I get together on a Friday morning, usually at 9 a.m. every Friday, and we just talk shop about all things related to window treatments, which is both of our loves and both of our passions and both of our occupations and businesses. So today, as you can see, I am flying solo. So because Kim is on maternity leave.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to
Lower the volume here for a second. So yes, Kimberly has been on maternity leave for the last couple of months. She is enjoying her beautiful baby girl. So I come on here every once in a while since she was gone solo so that I can still keep up with all things window treatments and tell you just the latest things that I've been up to and whatever has been happening in the window treatment world. So today's topic is installations lately. So usually if you're new to the show, we usually take a window treatment topic, being it, let's say, drapery pleats or valances or mounting options or really challenging windows, linings, pins, hardware. We've been doing this for almost 3 years actually. And over 100 and 100, this is 136 episode. So, but once in a while, I would come in, or Kim and I would come in, and we would just share some of the latest installations that we have done, just to kind of show you some eye candy and answer any questions that you may have live. So, welcome everybody who is watching me on Instagram. Welcome Facebook. Welcome LinkedIn. Welcome YouTube. So, we're trying to broadcast this series on all the social media channels in whichever way you like to listen to us. So, without further ado, let me toggle over the presentation, make myself really small here in the corner, and begin. So I will show you several projects today, the first of which is this really magnificent master bedroom, or the more appropriate terminology nowadays is owner's suite. Yes, or owner's bedroom. So this particular project was done for a really awesome designer. Her name is Kate Lee of Kate Lee Designs. Please follow her on Instagram and other social media channels. We have done a lot of projects for Kate, and she has been really entrusting us with a lot of her clients and her window treatments, and we just really developed a really terrific partnership. So this was one of the recent projects. And you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windows. So this is, quite a big master bedroom. And here we did both the first layer of treatment, being the Roman shades, and these are made out of woven wood, and we did the outer drapes as well. So the first layer being the woven woods, these are blackout, which means that they're lined in the blackout fabric, blackout lining in the back, so they don't let any light through. However, if you have done any kind of inside mounted shades, anyone who's done that before would know that there is still a little bit of a light gap that comes through on each side of the shade. So if you're the kind of person who really wants to have complete pitch black, kind of Vegas blackout, then the only way to do it is either to put the shade on the outside of the window and far, far, far on the outside, which wouldn't have been looking really great here because of the depth of these windows. Or another way to do it is to add the outer treatment, being these drapery panels, on the outside of the window. So these drapes are not functional, they are stationary, they're just there for pretty. Any woman, girl out there know with a little bit of mascara and a little bit of lipstick, sometimes does the trick. Well, that sometimes, oftentimes, actually works with window treatments too. They don't necessarily always have to function, meaning like traverse or close or go up and down on the window. Sometimes they're just completely stationary and they just stay put and just look really pretty, which is exactly what we wanted to do with this project. You can see that The fabric is a really high pattern geometric fabric, and you see that it works here because the rest of the room, perhaps with the exception of that awesome teal blue furniture piece, is really subdued and kind of monochromatic. So we still kept the window treatments in that monochromatic and subdued and kind of beigeish look, but it is the pattern, the high the large pattern, the large repeat, I should say, and the geometric pattern is what gives it the oomph and the personality. And of course, that beautiful sofa, the little sofa in front of the bed as well. So here is a little bit of a close-up of these treatments. You can still see the Roman shades made out of woven wood, kind of bamboo, grassy material inside the window. You can see how the shade stacks up, which is indicative of a Roman shade. So we actually did a whole episode, probably several episodes on Roman shades. And by the way, you can get all of these episodes if you either go on Vitalia Inc. website or WindowWorks website. You can also go on Vitalia Inc. YouTube channel and scroll through the entire library of these episodes. There's a wealth of information out there on every possible topic you can imagine. And so just wanted to quickly let you know that Kim has a nice little gift for you. If you go on their website, which is windowworksnewjersey.com, and you are new to window treatments, this particular report would be perfect for you. It is called 10 Things to Know About Custom Window Treatments, How to Save Time, Money, and Heartache. So you can download your report by going on windowworksnewjersey.com, and you can immediately get your copy. Okay, so this next project that we recently installed was also for Kate Lee. I told you we do a lot of projects for her and extremely happy to do it. And it actually happens to be the same house, except that we're no longer in the master bedroom, we're downstairs in the sunroom. And you can see also, again, here, we're using the woven wood shades inside the window, and we're using the drapery panels on the outside of the window. This is a really interesting configuration of a bay window. There's a double window, a single window, a double window again, and another single window. So not your usual garden variety bay window, but a really cool kind of octagonal or whatever the shape is looking at sunroom. So the woven wood shades here, unlike the first picture, are not lined in the blackout lining. So there's no reason to have the blackout effect in this sunroom, unlike the bedroom. And we definitely wanted the light to come through. So which is what we did here. It just really chose a very, very pretty pattern and to enhance the whole look of the room. And then again, for the pretty, not necessarily for functionality, but for the pretty of it, for the aesthetics of it, we added the stationary drapery panels in every corner of the window. So you can see here, I think this is a really good example where you have a non-traditional kind of bay window where you're not exactly maybe sure whether you should add the treatments maybe just to the outside corners or maybe just the inside corners, or maybe all four. You can see here how it looks in all four corners, even though the center panels are much closer together and the outer panels are much further apart. So we still think that it looks really nice and very finished. Now, another thing I want you to notice is that we put this hardware all the way at the top of this wall, very close, pretty much at that vaulted ceiling. So you may say that you like it, you may say that you don't like it. It is completely personal preference. Now, we try to mount our window treatments as high at the ceiling as possible. All of this is to elevate the eye, bring up the height, accentuate the height of the room. So everything nowadays, at one point we were at 8-foot ceilings, then we were at 9-foot ceilings, and now we're at 10-foot ceilings oftentimes. So everything is going up, up, up. We're trying to get as much height in our houses as possible. So in order to not dwarf that height artificially and to really accentuate it, we try to mount all of our hardware as close to the ceiling as possible. So we thought it turned out really nice, a very, very neutral, soft kind of way. And I think Kate did a really great job on the furniture here. So here you're seeing the close-up, or it's more close-up, maybe not as far as the previous one. Another thing I just want to point out, this is for my window treatment pros here. You can see that on the left panel is a skinnier panel, smaller panel. This is because we used one width of material. In the inner corner, you can see that this panel is wider, and that is because we used 1.5 widths of material. And the reason that we did that is so that the center panel can kind of straddle both windows. If we use the same width as on the left, then it wouldn't have been enough. It would have been too small and skimpy and skinny on the two windows. So it's an idea for you and a visual representation of what drapery panels of two different widths look like on the same window. So again, the whole point of these window treatment live sessions is to give you ideas and to give you inspiration and to give you a little bit of education too. And so next time you have a situation where you're wondering whether you can use two different widths of draperies on the same window, the answer is yes, you can. There's no draper police that would tell you otherwise, first of all. But in case you're wondering if it looks good or how will it look, because whether it looks good or bad, that's in the eye of the beholder. So I will let you make that judgment. But at least you can have an actual, not even a rendering, but an actual installation and a visual representation of what two different widths of drapery panels look like on the same window. So hope you can use that in the future. And so just like Kim had a little gift for you, I also have one from Vitalia Inc. It is a special lookbook that we put together. It's called 37.5 Window Treatment Ideas to Use Immediately, Steal, Swipe, and Make Your Own in your next design project. And you can grab your copy and download it on our website at vitaliainc.com. So hope you like it. This next project was done for another really terrific design firm here in Bucks County. And by the way, Vitalia Inc. is based in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Bucks County is a beautiful area nestled between Philadelphia and New York, not too far from Princeton, about 20-30 minutes from Princeton or so. And it is our home base. So we serve a lot of clients here around us, as well as the entire tri-state and the general greater Philadelphia area. So back to this project, it was done for a design firm called Gasig Design Group. And this was a model home. And you can see a lot of use of the blue navy color, which I would say is a definite trend right now. It has been for a while down the shore and in the coastal towns, but I've been seeing a lot of this color even in the kind of inland projects. So you can see what the use of this color looks like here. It's used in the barrel chairs. It's used in the little ottoman that's peeking through there in the left-hand side, lower left-hand side corner. It is used in the rug, and of course, it is used in the window treatments. You can also see that the window treatments are a really high pattern, meaning bold, large print. And another thing I wanted to point out to you is there are two different styles that are used in the same room, and that is also perfectly okay. So if you have 4 windows, just like this, or 6 windows, or multiple windows, and you don't want to use the exact same style on all the windows, you're perfectly able and authorized, and you have my permission to do that. So it's okay to use drapery panels on one side of the room and to use valances like we did here on the other side of the room. So definitely wanted you to take that away and know that you can use that in your projects. Another thing I wanted to point out to you is that in case you are on a budget, which all model homes are, I know they look beautiful and they look so cool and fresh and new. And yes, they're definitely fresh and new and super cool. But the little dirty secret of all the model homes is that the budget is really, really, really tight. So we oftentimes come up with all sorts of tricks to be as economical as we possibly can. And so one way that we found to save some money here is in the drapery panels. Now you can see that these drapery panels are only mounted on the outside of the windows. Let me see, hold on a second. Just want to make sure that I'm live here. Okay. So you can see that these drapery panels are just on the outer side of each window. Now, perhaps a more luxurious thing to do, maybe even more elevated thing to do, is to put a drapery panel on each side of the window. And one may say that it will look finished. However, if you are on the budget, or if you're trying to be just simpler in your window treatments, it is perfectly okay to have your window treatments done just on the outer edge and just with one panel on each window. And finally, the last thing that I wanted to point out here is the hardware onto which we mounted the drapery panel. And if you're looking closely right now and you're like, what hardware? What are you talking about? I'm not seeing anything. You are absolutely right. You are not, there's no hardware to be seen in this picture. And that is because it is mounted on what we call a concealed hardware. And all it is for my window treatment pros, that is your basic white curtain rod. And for any retail consumer, they're like, what's a white basic rod? If you go to any kind of big box store, Home Depot, Lowe's, Bed Bath & Beyond, JCPenney's, it is just like your basic white rodding that you can get in pretty much any store. It is not the prettiest thing in the world. It is not something that you necessarily want to showcase, but it certainly is functional enough for a drapery panel that is not too heavy, which is what we used here. The fabric wasn't too heavy, the lining was pretty light, and so we just wanted to have this drapery panel kind of float at the ceiling and all the way down to the floor. So yes, the drapery rod is very basic, very simple, and it is concealed behind that drapery panel. And here's the other side of the same room. You can recognize it because, or you can tell that it is because you can recognize the fabric that we just saw in the previous image. So the previous image was the family room, and it is an open floor concept to the kitchen. And notice that the Gasic Design Group, in their brilliance, and they're really, really great at what they do, they used that same navy blue color in the island. So everything is correlated, everything connects because it is an open floor concept. And quite frankly, it's not a huge house. It's a fairly compact, and everything's pretty close together. And so this valance that you're seeing above the window there is the exact same style that you saw in the family room. So there's 3 valances on the same plane, and these are called relaxed mock Roman valances. So valance by definition is a treatment that does not move. It's not like a Roman shade. A Roman shade by definition moves, it functions, it goes up and down on the window. A valance by definition is a stationary piece of window treatment, which is what this is. And it is relaxed because it has a really nice, pretty soft scoop at the bottom. At the top, it is board mounted. You don't see the board is concealed. And it also has what are called legs. So they're actually boards on each side of the valance, we call them legs, around which the valance is wrapped. So it's a very understated, it's a streamlined, it's definitely not a frou-frou kind of treatment. It is an updated version of a traditional swag that we all used to see in maybe our grandmother's houses or mom's houses. We don't do a lot of swags anymore. It is very, very rare that we do something like that. But an updated version of it is this, what's called mock Roman relaxed valance. So if you like it, definitely use it in your projects. All right, and if you are new to this series, we have been doing this for close to 3 years. Kimberly and I started it during the pandemic in May of 2020. And the idea was born actually out of another idea that was already in progress, that was already happening. And that is a series that was running, a recurring series on a podcast called A Well-Designed Business Podcast. It is a podcast that was founded 7 years ago by Luann Nigara, who is an amazing person, who is a visionary, who is a coach, a consultant, a mentor, an author, a speaker, a very sought after speaker in the interior design and the window treatment industry, and also somebody who I am very privileged and blessed to call a personal friend too. So she pulled me in to do the window treatment Friday series on her podcast, where we talk about mostly the business aspects of window treatments. And then Kim and I then took this idea and brought it into the live form onto these social media platforms where we can show you pictures. But if one podcast wasn't enough for our Miss Luann, she started another podcast. So A Well-Designed Business, if you're not currently subscribed to it, please do. It's an amazing business-related podcast directed to interior designers. And last year, around this time, so we're almost coming up on a year, Luann decided to start yet another podcast, but this time it is targeted and directed at window treatment professionals. So if you're a window treatment pro, whether you are a workroom, an installer, a retailer, a shop at home pro, a vendor, anyone in the window treatment industry, I highly encourage you to go onto your Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to your podcast and download this new podcast, a year-old podcast that is called Window Treatments for Profit. It is directed to window treatment pros, and it is all about how to make your window treatment business better and more profitable. And the reason that I'm showing you this slide is because yours truly is privileged to have her own recurring guest spot. Every Thursday, I come into your inbox with a series called Vita's Tip in 10, where I share a small but mighty tip on how to make your window treatment business better. So please, please, please give it a listen. All right. Another project that we completed recently for the Gasig Design Group, also a model home. Actually, the same project as what I showed you, the same model, same builder that I showed you a little bit earlier. But here I'm taking you upstairs to the bedroom, a master bedroom at that. You can still see the kind of transcending use of the blue navy color. And here, what I would love to point your attention to is that the window treatments, not only are they different in style, not only are they different in material, but they're also completely different in color. So if you ever are working in the room and you have multiple windows, 5 in this case, and you're wondering, can I mix and match? Can I do something different? Do I have to run the same treatment on all the windows? The answer is unequivocal. No, you do not have to run the same window treatment. And yes, you can mix and match. And so here we used the same style of the valance as we did downstairs. If you remember it, it is called the mock Roman relaxed style of the valance. It is stationary. Here it is mounted on the outside of the window, just like downstairs. And on the perpendicular plane, we have inside mounted woven wood shades. And notice that these woven woods are very dark in color, which is kind of different. It is going sort of against the recent trend of everything being white or kind of washed out a little bit, gray for that matter, very neutral. Here, Gasig Design Group really took kind of a step outside the box and introduced a darker, kind of more, maybe not quite espresso, but like that really dark chocolate color. It is also married and kind of balanced out in the room with that nightstand on the left-hand side of the bed, if you're looking at it. So the room is very nautical, extremely balanced, and really beautiful and rich in its color in the whole execution. And that is very indicative of all the projects that Gasig Design Group does. They do projects for residential consumers. They do projects for a lot of commercial consumers, like common places, senior living, and they do a lot of model homes for the builders. So in case you don't follow them, please do. You can always find them at Gasig Design Group on Instagram and other social media platforms. So real quick, we're just continuing with the same balance pattern, not pattern, but the same balance style in just another bedroom of the same model home. Now, interestingly, I wanted to point something out. Here, we installed these window treatments inside the windows versus the outside of the window. So if I go back real quick, the mock Roman relaxed style of the valance was installed on the outside of the window. And that is very typical for the model homes, because in the model home, you want to accentuate the existing assets. And one of the biggest assets that a model home has is its windows and the light that those windows let into the room. So it's actually very atypical and unusual to have any kind of window treatment, especially a valance like this that comes down pretty far, I would say, on the inside of the window. Now, this was a design call, and it's something that Gasig Design Group decided to do. And my guess is it's because this particular room, one of its assets is the millwork. So as we know, builders, a lot of times, they will offer a millwork or like a millwork package as an upsell to their customers, prospective customers. And so here, this particular room is very rich in its millwork. You can see the nice, thick and wide frames around the windows, as well as the built-in cabinets and the wainscoting around the bed. So my probably educated guess would be that here they really wanted to showcase all that beautiful woodworking that the prospective customer could upgrade to if they wanted to. And yet still, we did the window treatments to bring attention to that millwork and to really complete the look of the room. So it's very rare that we would go without the windows. Switching gears here a little bit, we're going to I want to talk to you about a different designer for whom we do some projects, Shannon Doozy Interiors. You can follow her at Doozy Design on Instagram. And I just wanted to show you this, a very simple project for us, a very simple Roman shade, but how fun it is. Or is it, I should say, right? It's a question, although more of a statement. So I think it is a lot of fun, because here what Shannon did is she matched the wallpaper with the fabric. I don't know off the top of my head what that fabric or wallpaper is, but I want to say it's probably like a Schumacher type of company, I would say, or maybe Tebow. They usually have matching wallpaper and fabric. And it's just, when you have a powder room like this, you want to, well, the trend in the powder rooms is to really make it fun, make it funky, make it different, make it memorable. And, when you walk into a powder room like this, I think you can agree with me that this is very, very memorable. So in case you're like, I have a project, I'm wondering if I can match my window treatments to the wallpaper. Yes, ma'am. Yes, you can. And this is what it looks like. So just really fun, really kind of, I don't want to say different, maybe different nowadays, but it was very, very common 30 years ago where everything was match and usually floral. But we, of course, know that what is old is new again. So this trend I have seen several times our designers use. So I think when done right, when done with a really cool pattern and something very memorable, it is something that you want to kind of take around the entire room if it's small enough. Otherwise, it would probably be too big. Wanted to mention to my window treatment pros listening, I have a very special program that I call the VIP experience. And it is designed especially for my high achieving type A's, ambitious, growing window treatment pros who want to scale their business in terms of revenue, in terms of team building, in terms of efficiencies and systems. It is an in-person private 2-day strategy session right here in my newly renovated studio and workroom in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, where I take your books, your numbers, your processes, and show you how to make them better, how to improve them. I give you mine. I give literally hand over to you all of my tools, all of my SOPs, so that you can either use them as is, swipe them, or appropriate them as you want to your business. If you're interested in a real sort of huge shot forward, kind of like I equate it to chutes and ladders. There's one ladder in particular there that gets you from the very bottom row all the way to the very top. This is what that VIP experience does. If you're interested or even a little curious, check it out. And if you're curious a little more, we can get on a quick discovery call, and no obligation discovery call, where I can give you more information. All right, back to our recent installs. We have been very, very busy recently, so I have a lot to share with you. So this project was done by a wonderful, incredibly talented, and the kindest soul that I know. Her name is Stella Ludwig, and I actually had the pleasure of just seeing her last night at the ASID event. By the way, if you're an interior designer, who doesn't know what the ASID is, please make sure to check it out. It is the Association of American Association of Interior Designers, and it's an exclusive group for high-end residential and commercial interior designers who run an elevated game in terms of business and design. So I have been part of that group for the last 4 years. I've been on the board, and yesterday we had an amazing tour of the Physicians College of Philadelphia. It's a great historic building. Recently got a little facelift by an amazing designer, also Philadelphia-based designer. Her name is Barbara Eberlein, and she gave us a private tour of the space. So back to Stella, the reason I bring up the ASID and the tour is because Stella also attended the tour with me along with 20 other people. And I just got to connect with her and reconnect and catch up. We went for a quick bike afterwards, and she's just the kindest, most wonderful soul. So if you are looking for a kind, understanding, considerate, smart, bright, amazingly talented interior designer in the city, specifically in Philadelphia, as well as beyond, but she's based in Philly, please do follow Stella Ludwig Interiors on Instagram. Give her a shout out and check out her work. And speaking of her work, we were privileged, honored to execute her vision in one of her projects recently. This particular project was done actually in New York City. And we did the drapery panels. We also recovered this beautiful sofa too. So not only do we do the window treatments, but we also do the upholstery. So I want you to make sure to remember that in case you are looking for support with that in the Philadelphia area. And here is also Stella's project, same New York-based project. And here we did Roman shades. And notice the trim on the Roman shades here and the trim on the drapery panels here. It all correlates, it all connects, it all talks to each other. So we were really honored to be part of this project and to work with Stella and her amazing, also, like when you're kind and honorable and just a great person, those are the types of clients that you attract. And this was the kind of client that we did work for in New York. We got the most glorious review from her, and she loved everything. And we were just so thrilled to get everything done for them. This is those same Roman shades, but stacked up, lifted on the windows. So you can see that the way we made them is that the trim still shows even when they're up and stacked up. The bottom edge of a Roman shade is called the skirt. And here the skirt was the same length, I should say, top to bottom length, so the same size as the trim. So we left just enough in the way we spaced out the rings in the back, we left just enough for that trim to showcase regardless of whether the shade is all the way down or all the way up. And that is our show for today, my loves. If you are in the New York metro area, if you are a retail consumer or if you are a designer, your go-to window treatment support partner is WindowWorks of New Jersey. They do window treatments, they do upholstery, they do Roman shades, they do all the things that I've just talked to you about, as well as they do awnings too. So their phone number, their email, follow them on Instagram, give them the shout out, tell them how much you enjoy their work. Kimberly should be back from her maternity leave in a few weeks, sometime in April, and I can't wait to welcome her back here with open arms. But in the meantime, if you do need support in any kind of window treatment or upholstery or awning project, and you are in the New York metro area, this is the contact information and this is the company that you want to use. And if you are in the greater Philadelphia area, then I would love to be that support partner for you. Vitalia Inc. Window Treatments is your go-to resource, your one-stop shop, VIP level, white glove level, concierge level service exclusively for luxury interior designers ready to fly first class in the world of window treatments. So please give us a call, send us a DM, follow us on Instagram. Make sure to download your free report and let us know how we can help you. And in the meantime, we will be working on our next episode of WTF, which stands for Window Treatment Friday Live. We are here every Friday at 9 a.m. showing you some inspiration, sharing some education, sharing some of our mistakes, some of our wins, everything that has to do with window treatments. We take any topic, we unpack it, put it back together, and share our processes throughout the whole thing. So join us here every Friday at 9 a.m. And until then, have a great weekend, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for joining me today.